guys, it's Snamak here. We're on week 2 of uni and I was procrastinating doing my actual work when I realised if I'm going to be unproductive, I might as well do it productively and record a voiceover. So today I am drawing one of my OCs, which if you've been following my Instagram for a while, you might recognise from about 3 or 4 months ago. His name is Kenny. Over lockdown I've thrown around ideas for comics that I could write many times. I have started many comics and I have never finished one. He was one of the characters in the first story idea, which was, well, it doesn't matter what the story was actually about. Essentially, he's an immortal being who is being frozen in the body of a 16-year-old, and he's very, very salty about it. However, that's kind of like his one sore spot, and like most of the rest of the time, he's very upbeat, he's got a good sense of humour, he's quite, maybe a bit too relaxed, but he's fun and he's laid back, and that's kind of the idea. However, this is a redesign, and so even if you have seen what he looks like in the original version, this isn't going to be the same. Over the last couple of months, both by exploring more of Pride and with the whole Black Lives Matter movement, it's made me realise that the level of representation in some of my comic ideas just wasn't good enough, and it never has been. This specific comic, I believe I named it Before the Afterlife, something like that. This particular comic has 9 main characters, and 8 of them are white. Now, that's not really like how it was supposed to be. Like, some of them slightly more tanned, one of them was technically supposed to have Asian heritage, but my art skills just weren't good enough to represent that. So if you looked at all of them in line, you'd see 8 white characters and 1 coloured character. And I thought that needed to change. Equally, that implies that there are other people doing this. No, this is just me, I'm all alone. Anyway, I also had some issues with LGBT diversity within my story. Now, this specific story does centre around an LGBT relationship, as well as like some action elements. But when I looked at the characters we had, there was still like a real lack of representation for the less well-known identities, things that like some people just don't know as much about or don't know exist. Now, obviously, there's only so much I can write about because I don't know exactly how all those people feel, but I certainly noticed that there was, for instance, no non-binary characters, no asexual characters. There was a real lack in certain places, and I wanted to fix that as well. So I've kind of gone through and I've changed some of the like story plots for this. I've kind of got back into this comic recently. I am considering maybe trying to write it again, but probably not because I don't have that kind of time. So I've been thinking about that as well, and it kind of made me realise when I redesigned this character, he needed to be better than he previously was. Now, obviously, to help with this, I'm going to change his colour palette up slightly, and I've also changed the storyline, but that's not really a problem. I hope you guys kind of understand why I've done this. I kind of worry these days that I'm not being inclusive in the right way. I subconsciously stress about whether I'm only making the diverse characters side characters, whether I even have a right to represent these groups as someone who is both white and cis. And I think just having the characters in my story should be what matters. And obviously, what a character looks like and how they identify shouldn't change their personality. So I should be able to add these things to my characters without it being problematic, but I'm always scared of being problematic. And I think people are more than their identities, and so I think having characters in my stories, or just characters that I draw that fit these identities, it should be a good thing, even if I don't go into depth about, how they got to that decision, how they got to that point, how they've, what they've experienced from having these characteristics. I'm not sure that's what's important is who they are, which is not the same as how they identify or what race they are. That's not, obviously those things are a part of who you are, but like, your personality doesn't change. And I think that's important, and I'm trying to do that level of representation right. And if obviously you guys, think that I'm doing this the wrong way, please comment down below and I will apologise and try and be inclusive in other ways rather than, forcing it if that's how it comes across. On a lighter note though, I changed his clothes up a bit. I wanted to make him look a little bit less like he came from whichever era it was that had what are they called? The belt, the things that hold up your belt, suspenders, that's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, so I wanted to make it look a bit modern, so I did that too. Obviously with the whole inclusivity thing, it's a difficult debate to come to a decision on, and I think whether any person feels comfortable representing a group that they're not a part of is up to them. And if I ever do get round to writing a comic, I'll obviously try my best to represent different people to the best of my ability, but I can't always identify with those groups because I'm not a part of some of those groups. And I hope that whatever happens, if I ever do write a comic, you guys will feel comfortable to call me out when I get it wrong, because that's going to happen. Anyway, that's probably all I have to say on this. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the speed paint. Please comment your thoughts down below and maybe subscribe. Thanks. Bye.